All right, we are here once again with the mighty, the powerful, the mysterious, the wizard, Lord Patrick Giguere. My friend, it's an honor and a privilege as always to interact with you. And I know I always learn something from you. So last time we talked about the number three and how that can be used either to awaken or to enslave people. And I don't know what you got on. You're going to tell us something more having to do with something like that. So tell us what's up. What are we doing?
Yeah, so I've been so for a few years I've been doing these Mount Shan sets and learning them and chipping away at them, refining them. And pretty recently, I just sort of had this spontaneous idea to face different directions when I practice these sets, but to do it in a very methodical way. So what I've been doing is I've been using the cardinal directions to do these sets, and I've been doing them in very specific numbers of sets. So what I do is, I'm usually practicing outside. I've got my little practice area. I'll always start facing north. And so I'm practicing things either in fives or nines. I could do it in 13s, but just doing everything five times takes me like over a couple hours.
Yeah,
So
if you're doing
time can
all
be
the
a,
sets, yeah.
yeah. So, for my practice, I'll open it up. I'll do some like heavy hands posture, that the arms out. People have seen that, thunder posture, wood posture, different names for it. I'll do some of that to warm up the 10 weapons hands, which is available to all you guys. Um, a footwork set, which is really kick ass.
Yep.
If you guys have, if there are people out there who've done five elements, but they haven't done the footwork set's gonna help clean everything up.
Yep. That's like and it's what plugs you in. You get X amount of energy, but when you do the footwork set, you're like, just everything takes on a whole new reality.
Yeah, it's been teaching me how to find a ground path, like through my spine and hips and knees and feet and all that, settle the weight in and to be more stable. So that's awesome. So do that. I get into Xuan Wu, and yeah, then I can do five elements, first set, and now the second set. I'm stumbling through that. So what I'll do, so the direction changes start with the footwork set because it's more of a dynamic event. So what I'll do. Footwork set. I do it once facing north. I turn 90 degrees. I do it once facing east. Then I turn 90 degrees. I do it once facing south and then facing west and then north again. So that fifth one going north again, it sort of stands for the fifth element, for the earth element in the middle, that kind of thing.
Yep.
I'll do the exact same thing doing Xuan Wu. So face north, face east, face south, face west, face north again. Same thing for the five element set. Start facing north, east, south, west, north. And then with set one, set two, doing the same thing. Because what initially got me doing that was, I'd come down to Florida to your house there for some instruction, for some training. I'm in a different environment, I'm facing different ways, and I'm getting all screwed up.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, I'm making my practice fragile because I'm always facing the same direction.
Right.
That's how it started. And then I kept doing it and I was like, huh, I'm on the cardinal cross here. That's interesting. Cross of the physical world and manifestation and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the more I did it, I was like, you know what? I was like, I think I'm like working an electric motor here. I think I'm like spinning some kind of an electric motor. And then I did that channeling session with you, that past life kind of channeling session. And we talked, you're channeling all this stuff about Atlantis and it just sort of seemed like, I don't know, I was like the first Mason or.
Yeah.
The, the first, or the last Grand Master of the Proto Masons or something,
Yeah.
setting up the Megalith network and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So I was like, maybe this electric motor activates megaliths. Because one of the interesting things in current events is I know they're doing this in the UK. They're trying to surround some of these megaliths with Faraday cages because I think they kind of get it. Like
Yeah.
they're related to consciousness when they're vibrating a certain way and broadcasting a certain frequency.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So just, I'm not really my intellect's involved, but it's not where this is coming from.
Yep.
So I'm like, maybe this electric motor is like the engine for the megalith grid. So I was like, okay. And then I start like looking at diagrams, like, wait a minute, maybe the poles of the Earth are like a capacitor that's like arcing in between. So um that's kind of where I've been going with this. So it's like, shit, maybe there's enough of us to work this thing. Because I think when deep staters go looking for ancient technology, they won't consider anything that's not like nuts and bolts,
Right.
titanium, steel.
Right.
It's like I forgot to email this to you, but the Russian martial arts Sistema, which once in a while it kind of taps into this
Yep.
heart energy.
Yep.
One of the source materials from that was a Sanskrit scroll that was actually gifted to the Third Reich Research Bureau by a group of Brahmins. And so this thing was brought to Berlin and they scoured it for nuts and bolts technology references. There's nothing in there, so they just kept it in the archives. Then when the Soviets were conquering Berlin and like destroying the place, there was a Soviet soldier who was like his passion was Sanskrit. So as this like archive was on fire, he ran in there and grabbed a bunch of scrolls and took them back to Russia. And so there's a manual in one of these scrolls for this practice called Dharma Marga. And so these Soviet, I think they were like judo practitioners, sort of like deconstructed and reconstructed this thing, and like it looks just like Sistema when they practice it. So the Third Reich was like, nope, nothing in here, nothing technological in here. Well, there was technology in there, but it's
Right.
completely organic.
Yeah.
So this is what they do. So my whole point in going through that whole tangent is that I don't think there's any physical engine for any of it. Like I think we're the engines and like the batteries because every institution in the world uses us as batteries with really no payback.
Yeah.
But I think we can be batteries in a different way. It's like doing these practices. Yeah, your mind-body complex is like a battery, but then you get more energy back. Like
Yeah.
that's the
So
right way.
so there's an important you're bringing up a very important point which I do not talk about enough. And this was said by the grand masters of this art, the Maoshan spirit fighting, is that if you, I guess if somebody were to look at it from above and look at the footwork, you're actually tracing out different, not kanjis, but what is that? The Chinese word for it.
Oh, like radicals or
You're tracing out words. So the movement is a spell, and it creates a portal that pulls energy down directly to you. So I don't know, like the beginning of the Xuan Wu set, you're actually tracing out, the characters for his name, and that's what brings him down into the set. And so, I mean, again, I started this practice and it was never treated like a martial art in the normal sense. It was treated like this is spirit fighting and this is about shifting and changing and transforming. And oh, yeah, and we can also beat the crap out of anybody. Um, and so and you know the martial arts practice wasn't about fighting, it was about seeing if you were able to release the energy out of your hands. That's all. No, you have to shift that, relax here, and then the energy. So it was always about tapping in and using the energy. And you do the sets for the sake of doing the sets.
Hmm.
Didn't do them for any other reason. This is why, you know, I mean, MMA people will talk smack about, and rightly so, we'll talk smack about, you know, Taekwondo and karate and how ridiculous those forms are, which they are. They're completely ridiculous. You try and use, you know, you try and use a karate form in the street, and anybody, even if they're not trained, is going to wipe the floor with you.
Right.
Right. So they had to alter it. And my teacher, he had a fifth degree black belt in Shotokan before he started doing this. So he would say, yeah, we would always have to alter it, you know, in a fight. And he says, this is different. When you do this exactly to form without any force, uh, you have to alter it not to kill the person. So it's the opposite. You have to alter the form so you don't kill, you know, who you're training with or your opponent. And and they would say, you know, it's really all about this magical energy that we're trying to create. And you know, the Mao Shan masters, I don't think they really understood what they had. It was all channeled. So what they would do is they would do rituals. You know, there's a typical ritual where you light three um, incense sticks and you call the Mao Shan masters and you say, come down and teach me a form. And then you would put yourself into a trance and then your body would start to move and whoever was there would, you know, write it down or copy it or you'd remember it and then that's the form. And then they would go and apply it and of course it would be really effective martially. And it would also pull down all these energies. But that doesn't mean that they really understood what they had.
Hmm.
So what you're saying makes a lot of sense. You know, and I've only experimented a tiny bit. But I had another student I had for a little while who had been training in a bunch of other arts and a bunch of other esoteric stuff. And he said, what if you do the set and have an intention? So he started doing that and he suggested that I do that. And so I'd practice the set with an intention, you know, more money, better job, whatever the hell it was. And interestingly enough, those things would happen. And it's like, oh, this isn't just a set.
Hmm.
This is a technology for manifesting thoughts and intentions. So what you're talking about, you know, I didn't tell you about any of this. You're coming up with this on your own as a result of doing the sets. The sets are teaching you this.
Yeah.
And
Oh
so,
man.
yeah, so when people hear me say this is the most powerful spiritual technology on the planet, I'm not just being hyperbolic. I mean, I haven't seen it anywhere. You won't find it in yoga. You won't find it in other rituals. You won't find it in other Taoist rituals. You won't find it.
No.
It doesn't exist.
Hmm.
To be able to have your body bring the, there isn't anything out there that will do that like in the same way. So what you're talking about is you're linking these two concepts. For me, what you're doing is you're linking two concepts that I've known about, knowing that the things like the
Yep.
pyramid and you know Stonehenge, et cetera, all that. I've known that those are actual uh, those are energy what's the word like transistors. They're not there just to you know worship the sun gods and the sun sets here. These are actual energetic technological machines, and it's just about getting the energy there. And so we know that they operate and respond to sound. So if you chant, if you go into any one of those things, if you stand in the pyramids, or if you stand and people have done this, you stand in Stonehenge and you chant or make sounds, all of a sudden the energy starts to vibrate and increase within, that's been proven. People, but nobody knows what the original sound or chant was. If we knew that, you know. Um,
Yeah.
and so what you're talking about here is using maybe a more powerful frequency generator. You're saying that these sets are, when you do them like this, you start to create an energy generator.
Yeah, I think it may organize the energy that we're channeling and generating more.
Yeah.
So then it's sort of less accidental and it's more intentional. And then,
Yep.
adding the intentions to that, it's like forget about it.
Yeah. And so what I'm hearing you say is if we start doing these with intention, if we've got groups of people doing them with intention, we might be able to kickstart all the old technology that's just sitting here dormant on the planet.
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. Let me here, let me pull up the I'll pull up the electric motor diagram real quick. Just give people's eyes something to feast on and wrap their heads a little more. Okay. Yeah, let's do this one. So, hang on. Okay. Just trying to find it on my screen. All right. So you got your electric motor diagram. You got two poles, you got a north and a south. You got this axis down the middle. And so what you have is this thing is being fed, actually, you know what? Let me pull the other one. I've got two of these up. It's got a little more detail here. Okay, cool. So this one, same thing we were just looking at. You got your two poles in the motor. You got that spinning axis down the middle. And then you've got this little battery looking thing down here. So that's your power source. It's feeding alternating current. So alternating current, it keeps changing polarity, and this is how this electric motor works. So what happens is these two, I haven't thought about this stuff in a long time in an intellectual way. I had to study a bunch of this stuff back in the day. But anyway, these two magnets here, the north and south, these electromagnets, they charge alternatively. The power source is feeding in alternating current. So if the South Pole magnet's on, the power source is going to feed North Pole energy. So the opposites are going to attract. And they're going to just flip back and forth. And that's how an electric motor rotates. So this armature in here, that's charged with electricity from the power source, and it's getting this whole thing spinning. So the way I'm looking at this, we're doing the sets. Yeah, you got this north and the south, but since this human body and human mind that we're operating are so sophisticated, we have another axis with two more poles. So that's the basic idea when we charge these things sequentially. I think that's what's turning this engine that's, it's in a higher dimension because again, there's no engine for, the deep staters to take possession of because it's not in 3D, so
Right. Right.
they can't have it.
Yeah. And that was, my, how I came to the conclusion, I don't remember, but I came to the conclusion that, there was the king of Atlantis who was, hooked up, had all this power, and there was a faction of the elites of Atlantis that wanted that, and they thought that he had some technology, some secret technology that was giving him all that power. And they thought if they could overthrow him, first they tried to lure him into their nonsense and he didn't go along with it. So they assassinated him. And they thought if, once they did that, they would go in and find some secret technology somewhere, and they didn't find anything. And so they've been looking for it ever since. For 13,000 years, they've been looking for what that technology is. And we're seeing that in, they're downing spacecraft and reverse engineering the ET craft. That's what they're looking for. Like you said, they're looking for nuts and bolts stuff. But,
Mm.
and then you find out that the spacecraft, this is the thing that's driving them crazy. They find out that the spacecraft isn't run by physical technology, it's run by psychic technology. And so what do? They go around the world and they, they abduct a bunch of humans and then, tear them to pieces and try and use their brain to stick it on some kind of, they're trying so hard to figure it out. And they don't realize it's a spiritual technology.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like one of the things in like the truth movement, like the QAnon movement that drives me insane is like the whole med beds thing.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and it's like I don't want to disparage people, but there are people, the people who talk most about the med beds have been working hard to destroy their health for years. And they're like, "Oh, when I get that med bed, I'm gonna be so healthy and da da da." And it's like
Yeah.
if you talk to the ETs and you're like, "Oh, I have these health problems. I want to be healthier." They're going to be like, "Well, the first thing you need to do is get a handle on your emotions. And to do that, there are these people teaching these amazing qigong and energy practices. So get a handle and just get into those and then come talk to us." And people,
Yeah.
but the med, it's a whole like codependency thing,
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah. I could go off on that too. I'm not going to, but yeah, it's a mindset. I mean, that is but it's also not their fault because that's what's
No.
being fed to us.
Yeah,
That's
if
what's
you get
being
locked,
fed to us with all of the so-called whistleblowers that are saying we don't have this technology and all the bullshit that they're saying. And that, without saying it, they want you to think that extraterrestrials are these physical beings that live in the third dimension and are like, well, what is that Earth thing down there? Well, let's go abduct them and cut them open. And that the reality is that Earth is its own closed system. It's not part of all the other civilizations. They live in different frequencies and different dimensions. And so they're not thinking about reality the way we are. They have an understanding we don't. So the idea that we could get their technology is ridiculous. You know what I mean? I mean, the
oh
technology
yeah.
that we are getting, things like um, uh, what is that? Velcro. My understanding is that Velcro came from ET craft. Okay, and now how does that help you rule the world? Whatever it is, light fibers. What is that? What is that? The
Oh, the fiber optic.
fiber optics. Okay, great. We got fiber optics from them. And so how does that help you do anything other than have a better telephone or something? It's
Yeah.
they're just completely missing. Just like those original people that thought, well, if we kill the king, we're going to find the technology, and there's nothing there because he was the technology. He was the transceiver.
Yeah.
And he was trying to tell everybody that, look, if you do what I'm doing, you can have this. And people weren't hearing it. They didn't understand it.
Yeah. There are even rumors that Nikola Tesla he was like he regulated his machines with his mind. I don't know if that's true, but if it's true, then they take possession of that shit and they can't even use it.
Yep, I completely believe that. Absolutely, totally, 100% believe that. Because when you read the stuff that they say about him, they try to make him sound like he's crazy,
Yeah.
and then there are quotes of things that he says that are like either
Mm.
so crazy or so beyond understanding that you just like, what is he talking about? So I completely believe that. And it's turned out to be true. I mean, I haven't talked about some of the things I've been experiencing recently, but people have no idea how powerful the CE5 protocol meditation is. If somebody wanted to rule the universe, I would say do the CE5 protocol meditation and experiment with it and try and get as much knowledge and power as you possibly can. And it's amazing, what I'm finding is that um, the universe will give anything people want, but they got to ask for it. And as long as it's in alignment with their soul, there isn't any rule about how much power you can gain, is one of the things I'm finding out. And these practices are perfect examples because the only way that these Maoshan spirit fighting practices, as I said, came into existence is because some guys who lived in South China, where it was really dangerous, and the guy next door to you and his other farm is looking to kill you and take your wife and steal your farm and steal your water, and you've got to figure out a way how to defend yourself. So I'm going to try and get some magic. These guys light the thing and they Maoshan masters and then take over my body and teach me. And then they get given these powerful things that they don't understand, but they know that they can beat the crap out of the guy next door, and they know that they can do other magical things to protect themselves. But that's as far as they took it.
Yeah.
They didn't really understand what they had. So again, you're without me telling you to go down this path as your teacher, you are coming up with this and you're saying this is the engine of the technology is this power.
Yeah. 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 And there's a really crazy overlap with our mythology here. So this is a familiar symbol here,
Yep.
especially if you're some kind of Celtic American, or if you live in the British Isles, the Irish Isles, whatever. But these were also found in, Bronze Age Scandinavia too.
Yep.
So it's everywhere. So if you ask most people or most, academics what this is, oh, this is a devotion of the Celtic people to Christ. And it's like, no.
No.
This is, for one, it was a symbol of, Bel, the Celtic sun god. But then the other thing too, this was a navigation device that people were using thousands of years ago, and they would get within a matter of a few hundred feet of accuracy on the Earth.
Wow.
Yeah, because you can use this thing to, shoot a bearing to, the sun, the moon, stars. Um, People use these in construction because you can use it to find a plumb line when you're trying to get things level. Um, so many things with this, and then. So this is basically the pattern that I'm tracing with these sets. I start facing north, I go east, I go south, I go west, I go back to north. And I think of the in the Norse mythology, you have the four dwarves that are the directions. They're living beings that are these portals, these directions. So you've got
Yeah.
Nordri, north, Estri, east, Sudri, south, and then Vestri in the west. So it's like, we are the goddess Freya in the middle,
Yeah.
and she's wearing the Brisingamen, the necklace, which is the
Yeah.
powers of these four dwarves all together. So very
Wow.
interesting.
This got hit with a ton of energy as you said that.
Mm,
Uh, so that means that you're talking about in the center, you're talking about the heart mind energy.
yeah,
So again, what makes these Maoshan practices completely unique. Somebody who doesn't know, who thinks, oh, they're talking about Chinese Qigong. Oh, I do Chinese Qigong. Oh, I do Taoist Qigong. They're going to think they know what we're talking about.
right.
But the the Shin Bao, which my teachers called the Shi, is this energy in the heart center that is an electromagnetic energy that surrounds the heart and or the soul, depending on how physicalized you're thinking about it. And this electromagnetic energy is more powerful than anything in our reality. And it's literally the portal that projects the soul into the third dimensional reality. And it protects the soul from the harshness of the third dimension. And it also protects the third dimension from the soul because the soul is higher dimensional, will tear a hole through it. So it serves those two functions. Left by itself, that's what it does. And then, you're a TCM practitioner, so you already know the heart protector and how important that is. And these practices do something that no other Chinese practice or East Indian practice does, because most of them don't even know that this energy exists. If they do, they know about it from TCM, or they might have heard about it once or twice, but they don't know anything about it other than that. In fact, the Xing Yi guy that I heard talk about it say, yeah, you want to stay away from that. You can, like, they would accidentally awaken it, and it would be so powerful. They're like, oh, you got to leave that stuff alone. That's too powerful. So you got to stay away. And that this is actually a goddess. Now, what the Mao Shan, I've said this before, and if you practice, the Mao Shan, my teachers were going after what they called the fourth set. So as you know, there's the five elements, and then there's the three spirit fighting sets, which I've now released. But then the third set is only the half. It's just the right half of the body. So the whole left side isn't even activated. And the reason for that is that you do the right hand side over and over and over and over and over. And then when you perfect it, you will pass out. And then your Shin Bao will come out of your body and she'll appear in front of you. And she teaches you the other half of the set. And when that happens, you're untouchable. Like nobody can ever touch. Not only that, but like you walk in the room and anything evil just goes flying out windows. And all kinds of other crazy things happen. So when you were talking about, and we were looking at the Celtic cross there, and you were looking at the 4 points and then the point in the middle, when you got to that, that's what hit me. My Shin Bao said, that's me.
Mm,
So that's the engine. And when you showed the static picture of the engine, what we didn't see is how the thing rolls around itself like this, right? And there's that electromagnetic energy that I don't know enough about it, but I know there's an electromagnetic energy that keeps everything right, that connects everything together as it's.
yeah.
And then we have the what we call the yin yang hands or the teacher hands or the sifu hands, which is exactly that. It's you're creating this engine with your hands. And that's the first thing that you learn is how to do that. And then, as you know, as you practice the set, you're looking for that in all the movements. Even if it's a big movement, there's still that whole electromagnetic engine energy that's being thrown around. And once you tap into that, then the sets start to do that. And as
Mm,
you've noticed, probably when you relax into it, all of a sudden, without trying to, you start going faster and faster and faster. And if you were doing that with a normal practice, like a kung fu or a karate practice, you would have to get to go faster. And the opposite happens with this. The more you relax into it,
yeah.
you're not even breathing hard and you're going so fast. And there's
Yeah.
so much energy coming out of you. And it's that engine. And
Yeah.
that is her. This is the goddess.
Yeah.
So I don't even think I haven't heard anybody else. The Maoshan guys have bumped into it and said, "Oh yeah, I got the fourth set, and this feminine being came out and taught me that." And that's as far as they take it. And, my teacher's teacher said, you know, if I think about it, I think it was my feminine side. That's as far as he took it. But we're now in this new reality, I said, I think the most powerful thing is to do CE5 protocols and to experiment with that. And it's that got me to the place where I have a not only a physical connection with my Shinbao, my feminine goddess, electromagnetic goddess, but she talks to me. She communicates to me. And she's a person. She's not just a force in my body. She's a person.
Oh,
And the Hopis, I wish I had the quote, but the Hopis said something along the lines when they were talking about in the fifth world, we're going to be so connected to the spirits of our ancestors that all of us will have multiple spirits within our bodies that we talk to and communicate with.
wow.
And so this is what I'm experiencing. And this practice that you're talking about is the pathway to having that. So it's always been my feeling that, in the fifth world, the spirit fighting is going to be the new Tai Chi. Everybody's going to be doing it the way people do Tai Chi now to feel better. They're going to be doing the spirit fighting, to tap into so that their Shin Bao will, come out and they can communicate with the feminine goddess that lives in their heart. And to understand that the physical body is a holographic projection of the entire universe.
Right.
I mean, you know this from TCM. It's a holographic projection of the entire universe. And this is what the Taoists did. That's why they spent so much time in internal cultivation. And the Mao Shan would put all the deities in their cavities in their brain. They said there was all these cavities that were empty, and the idea was to get the deities come and live in there. And when all that happens, and the three ones, then you disappear and you become an immortal. And all they're doing is they are taking this holographic projection and just simply filling in all the blanks the way it already is in the universe. And then once you become the universe, yeah, what else is there? All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm done with that rant.
Do you want a quick video to kind of feed the imagination with the motor?
Yeah, please.
Sure. I just pulled one up. All right. So yeah. That wasn't very good. Hang on a sec. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Um,
Looked like it was about to get really cool.
no. Wait a minute. I was hoping for something more
Where the whole where
dynamic.
the whole thing is rotating.
Yeah. Not very well prepared with this.
That's okay.
Yeah. Let me see if I can pull up something on this one. Okay.
There we go. Yeah, now we're getting somewhere.
Yeah, so it gives an idea.
Yeah, and that's again basically we're talking about the Sifu hands, but what you don't see is the energy inside of it. And we're dealing with masculine, feminine together, and then the triangle. And all this starts.
Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And then, so yeah, last image, looking at the Earth in general. Um, so this is a capacitor. So let me just read something here because it's
Okay.
like I had to jog my memory. If you say the word capacitor for most people, they're like, what the hell is a capacitor? Okay, here's the definition. A capacitor stores electrical energy by accumulating charges on two conductive plates separated by an insulating material, otherwise known as a dielectric. So two electrics, so two poles. Or it's like the interface between two poles. When voltage is applied, electrons pile up on one plate, creating a negative charge in an electric field, while the other plate becomes positively charged. It acts like a temporary, rapid release battery, storing energy in the electric field rather than chemically. So on this diagram, you got two plates, opposite charges, and you've got an axis through there, which are the two terminals. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, so these two plates are like the poles of the Earth here, and then the dielectric in the middle. It's the Earth itself, and it's also the atmosphere. So, something I've learned is that, one of basically the source for lightning is that the Earth is spinning underneath the atmosphere and it causes friction.
Hmm.
So it's building up at the poles.
Hmm.
So pretty interesting here. So I think, that this energy is naturally building up at the poles, and if we, the humans don't know what to do with it, it's just gonna it's gonna build up there, and it's gonna sort of release, just as it needs to. It's gonna discharge once it's built up enough, and it's gonna kind of go wherever equilibrium tells it to. So I think that's the other thing with this too, is we can work with how this energy discharges from the poles. So,
So, okay, can you take that picture off? Do you need that?
nah, we're
Okay.
good.
Okay, so let's bring that home with all of this. So,
Yeah, and it made me think of who the whole breath and the who are, because the thing that
yeah,
you were working through was that those two mantras pertain to a different pole.
yeah.
So you've already been working with this.
This is, yeah, the interesting thing. Yeah, the current live guided interdimensional meditation, the current protocol I'm going through isn't something I thought up. The way I do those meditations is I just sort of follow where my intuition takes me. And then we end up doing these things that then we find out later, oh, you're not just making stuff up. This is what you're doing. And, that there's this energy that we're sending down through from the North Pole to the South Pole. And lately, what we've been doing is we've been sending energy directly into the earth to have the earth release that through the mountain ranges. And I don't know if you've noticed, but volcanoes are blowing up all over the
Mm,
world right now.
yeah.
And so you're talking about that. It's like in my mind, I'm seeing an engine just starting to, we're starting up an engine here
Yeah.
as we do.
Yeah. 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 I almost think of like, it was like the Thor movie where he goes to the dwarf home and they have to like start the furnace and it's a
Yeah,
huge pain in the ass. It's like it
yeah,
just makes me think of that
yeah.
to give people something to put their imaginations around.
And it's just amazing to me. I mean, here I am. Uh, I'm teaching people these Maoshan practices that are probably 100 years old or more. I think the guy who downloaded them, I think it was Lum Dayun in the 1920s or maybe a little before that. And I don't think he had any idea. I mean, he was known to be very powerful and had all kinds of magic, but I don't think he had any idea. The only reason I know that the energy that causes this is the Shin Bao is from reverse engineering. years, decades later, because my teachers didn't know any of this. And I tried. I went around to other Qigong schools and uh, internal martial arts and Kung Fu, and their movements didn't correlate, and they didn't have this energy, and they didn't know what I was talking about. And of course, they went through the energy of, oh, it goes Jing to Qi to Shen, which is, the sexual fluids to the navel center, the Qi to the soul in the middle of the heart center. And they said that's how the energy moves. And my teachers, not knowing what it meant, would go, yeah, we work with Qi, Shi, and Yi. And like, they have no idea, they can't even get the words right. I mean, they don't even know what they're talking about. And they were uneducated guys that just knew what they were told. And so what's the point I'm trying to make, the beauty of it is this is a directly channeled technology that comes straight from the mantis beings in my belief. I believe that's where it came from. And I think they were looking in the long road. They're like, okay, so when the world changes, we're going to need to have these people on the earth who can get this machinery going. So we're going to teach this guy, and then in 100 years it'll get to, when the technology's there and they can give it to everybody. I think that's what it is. I think that's what's
Yeah.
happening here. And here you are again coming up with this knowledge that it sounds like if we apply it, it sounds like what you're suggesting is, hey, Maoshan practitioners, get together. Whoops, you still there?
Oh yeah.
Sorry, okay, I clicked my mouse and something happened. You're saying, hey, Maoshan practitioners, if you're out there, try this, and create an engine and make the intention for whatever, who knows what, and experiment and see what happens.
Yeah, 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 yeah. It's kind of a, it's kind of a call to arms of sorts.
Yeah.
To people who are practitioners or people who want to get started. It's like this, just doing these practices, it's a very peaceful, constructive, nonviolent form of resistance.
Yeah, the most powerful.
And violence is drama at the end of the day, and it's like don't
Yeah.
just sidestep it. It's like screw that because they have a
Well,
monopoly on it anyway. So it's like
yeah, right. And it doesn't accomplish anything because you end up
no,
using force to overcome force.
it just yeah, it multiplies. It's
And,
like this
and
shit
so,
just keeps getting
yeah,
thrown
it
back and
just,
forth.
right. And it's again that it becomes a technology that, depending on who has it, what their motives are, and nobody ever learns. And the rule of this third dimensional Earth is that everybody's autonomous, and they can only learn when they find out for themselves and decide for themselves. And yeah, yeah, there's no, you can't force any of this on. It's never worked. It's never
Yeah,
worked. It's not going to work.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah, so if anybody's interested, maoshan.thunderwizard.com is the website to get started. You can also go to thunderwizard.com, go to the menu, click on shop, and you will see the Maoshan sets if you can only get them one at a time. If you want to tap into the practice and just get started, click on the menu and go to shop again, and then click around until you find the Summoning the Immortals Qigong, which you'll see when you do that, you'll see and feel what we're talking about, creating this engine. Um, yeah, and starting next month, as I've told you and others, I'll start doing a live Zoom class, so that these are people who are doing the practices, who've learned them and are doing them. And we can work on nailing down the specific movements and getting all the directions and everything right. And I suppose I could record those as well and get those out to people who are already starting practicing. So, yeah.
Very cool.
And you, sir, again, your websites
Oh
are,
yeah, ninthgateacupuncture.com and then ninthgate.net. That one's still under construction, but you can
okay.
find me. Um, yeah, if anybody who's, listening to this, watching this is like on the fence about doing these practices, just do it.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
do it. It's life changing, and it's like,
Yeah. What have you
yeah,
got to lose?
we have to look after our physical lives. We have to be financially responsible. We have to do some form of work. We have to do all that, maintain our homes, but it's like, voting's not going to change anything. And then like freaking out in front of the news is not going to change anything. So if you want to affect this reality, do this stuff. And you'll change too, and it'll be pretty cool. Trust
Yeah.
me.
That's the best part. That's the best part. I have to say, what has given my body the ability to handle the level of higher dimensional interaction I've had over the past 4 years was these practices, training in them for 30 years and opening all those centers up. And other people are getting back to me about the second set, about how the power of the second set is just blowing their mind. They thought that the five elements was powerful and the first set was powerful, and then the second set, and it's just like, wow.
Yeah, I want to make a plug on your behalf about the second set. So that has I hit I made like an emotional breakthrough, I feel like, doing that. So sometimes, especially when I'm practicing a good bit, I'll wake up in that like 5 to 7 a.m. window before I intend to, say like 6 o'clock. That's the 2 hour window for the large intestine, and that's when you release things. It's when you mentally, emotionally, psychically, you release things through your large intestine. It's an excretory organ, even in your energy body. So, when you're struggling to release something, and you're having to work on it, you'll wake up in that time, and I'll go back to sleep. But for the longest time when I'd wake up in that, I'd be kind of pissed off. Or sometimes like, I'd have a good practice at night, but then I'd wake up in the morning and be like, oh, God damn it, and everything pisses me off. Now I've been waking up and I have these like really funny dreams before I wake up.
Huh.
And it's just like, oh yeah, I don't give a shit anymore. It's always humorous situations where people are trying to piss me off, and I'm just like, oh, whatever. So it's like the five elements in the first set were like building pressure, and then I just put the effort into learning the second set as much as I can on my own, and it sort of it bumped me up a tiny bit, and I'm just in a better place and I have a better attitude.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. I can see where like somebody would only like if somebody only learned five elements in the first set, they could sort of say stuck in that like typical martial artist mindset like a little
Yep.
bit.
Yep.
Because you're just it's like you're heating up your instincts and you're cooking them and pressure cooking them and you just start going, but you go on to that next set and it gives it somewhere to go.
Yeah.
It's like the empress or the emperor is stepping in.
Yep.
And it's
That's
like,
a good.
okay, it's like talking to the army. It's like, okay, quit brawling. Like
Yeah.
we got shit to do.
Yeah.
And the army's just insecure because they want a leader. So,
Yeah. Yeah. The brilliance of these practices is that the five elements really do open up the five elements.
mm.
And what we know is that the Shin Bao, the heart center, has five elements within that. So there's five elements within that. And so when you're doing the Mao Shan five elements, not only are you working on the five elements, but you're opening up the five elements within the most powerful energy engine in your body. And then the first set is the navel center. So yeah, you get just stay at the navel center. You're going to be healthy. You're going to be powerful. You're going to have willpower. You're going to have all the things associated with a healthy navel center. But yeah, the navel center is the third dimension. It's the ego. It's I'm going to make something of myself and I'll be, and that's, we have to have that. We have to have the ego.
Hmm.
It doesn't function without it. Then in the second set, it opens up this, not just the heart center, but the Shin Bao in a way that the other sets don't. It's just a whole other level. And then the third set is the third eye. And that gives ruthless, dis, dispassionately connected understanding of reality, which you just look evil in the face and go, yeah, no, you're dead. And you don't have to get pissed off and lose your composure. So these, again, the human body is a holographic projection of the universe, and these sets are going into your holographic projection and lighting the whole thing up. And again, it's a science that nobody knows. Go to any one of the Taoist mountains, you'll never find it. They don't have any idea. They can barely tap into the Shinbao. They might know something about it, but they won't be able to awaken it and have it talk to you. It's just these guys. These were the only guys that knew it, and nobody knew who they were. They were under the radar. People thought they were evil magicians. They were so powerful. And now I think finally, yeah, as I said earlier, the universe is like, okay, let's do this thing. Let's change this up. Let's fix this reality. And yeah, calling people if they want to be warriors to change the world.
Yeah,
This is
totally.
this is as good a way as any to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, it does take a leap of faith because there's no there's no reams of research and data and all that stuff. But, you know, it's like an Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade. It's like the leap from the lion's head. Like you can't see the bridge, but the bridge is there.
Yeah,
You have to believe the bridge is there.
yeah,
And and that whole grail thing, I think that has to do with the heart protector personally, but that's a whole other episode.
yeah. Yeah, and as I always teach, the only thing I care about is personal experience. I could care less what anybody says or what anybody writes down. If I can't experience it, what good is it to me? And so
Yeah.
the only way to know what this Maoshan stuff is by doing it. It's the only way you'll know. And then once you know, you know. And somebody knows, you look them in the eye, you know that they know that you know that they know. And if somebody doesn't know, you look them in the eye and you know that they have no idea what's going on. So you have to do it before you can know. So yeah, I'm with you. Just if you're thinking about it, if you're on the fence, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just go for it.
That's the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Cool. This was
Uh,
really cool. Thanks a lot.
yeah, I appreciate it as well. Thank you very much. All right, so we've given out your info. I've given out mine, so everybody knows what to do and where to go. All right, well, I can't wait for our next discussion. Things are coming together. The world's about ready to flip its, I don't know, something big is coming here. So I'm sure
Yeah.
we'll have more stuff to talk about. All right.
Hell yeah.
Well, Master Giguere, as always, it has been an honor and a privilege.
Me too. Thank you.
And yeah, I can't wait till next time.
Same.